38 parasite cysts in a woman's brain. One mistake, a lifetime of fear. In the dead of night, the hospital room was completely silent. A woman was sitting on the bed, and in front of her, a doctor was looking at her brain scan repeatedly. After a few seconds, the doctor said, "There are 38 parasitic cysts visible in your brain." At that moment, she felt as if her entire life had been captured in a single scan image. The fear begins right here. Can a small hygiene mistake, a contaminated meal, or accidentally swallowed water carry a parasite all the way to a human's brain? And the curiosity is, how can a person even identify a disease in time when its effect shows up 4 years later? This is the story of 42-year-old Lowri Denman from Britain, whose medical journey forced the world to look at a terrifying disease once again. According to reports, 38 parasite cysts were found in Lowri's brain. The name of the disease was Neurocysticercosis, meaning an infection linked to tapeworm larvae in the central nervous system. This sounds like something out of a horror film, but for doctors and health agencies, it is a real parasitic disease, which can mostly be prevented through prevention. First of all, it is important to understand that this was no ordinary stomach worm. It was a disease linked to a pork tapeworm named Taenia Solium. But this is where the biggest confusion arises. People think that the parasite enters the brain simply by eating pork. The actual truth is different from this. According to the CDC, cysticercosis occurs when a person swallows the microscopic eggs of a tapeworm. These eggs can enter the body through contaminated food, water, surfaces, or dirty hands. Meaning, the directly eating of pork is not the reason for the formation of brain cysts. Eating raw or undercooked infected pork can cause an intestinal tapeworm, meaning teniasis. If an adult tapeworm is present in a person's intestine, the eggs can pass out through their stool. In poor sanitation, those same eggs can contaminate the environment, food, and water. When another person, or sometimes the same person, accidentally swallows these eggs, that is when cysticercosis can begin. These eggs go into the intestine and hatch. Then, the larvae can reach different parts of the body through the bloodstream. Many times they go into muscles, sometimes into the eyes, and in the most dangerous cases they reach the brain or spinal cord. When the larvae form cysts in the brain or central nervous system, it is called neurocysticercosis. This exact condition can give seizures, headaches, and neurological problems. In Lowri Denman's case, doctors believe that the infection might have occurred during a 2-month trip to India in 2007. But a lot of caution is necessary here. No lab test can say with certainty exactly which country, city, restaurant, or water caused the infection. Therefore, this story is not about blaming India. This story is about understanding the danger of unsafe food, contaminated water, poor hygiene, and delayed diagnosis. According to reports, a few years after returning from India, Lowri received the first strange signal. While using the toilet, she saw a tapeworm that was almost 1 meter long. Imagine a person living a normal life, and suddenly they see such a long worm coming out of their body. In that moment, fear and shame both come together. But the real danger had not ended there. The body had given a warning, but the story hidden inside the brain had not come out yet. After some time, Lowri started having problems like severe headaches and seizures. That is when doctors turned their attention toward a brain scan. What appeared in the MRI scan shook both the doctors and the patient. There were not just 1 or 2 but 38 parasitic cysts present in her brain. In such a disease, symptoms do not appear immediately. The CDC states that signs of cysticercosis can appear months to years later as well, especially when the cysts begin to die and inflammation increases. This is exactly what makes this disease dangerous. The infection can happen today, but its effect can appear many years later in the form of a seizure, headache, or confusion. Many people initially mistake it for a migraine, stress, weakness, or a normal neurological issue. But when a seizure occurs, the matter becomes serious. Lowri had to undergo a long treatment. Treatment steps like anti-parasitic medicines, steroids, and seizure control medicines find mention in the reports. In such cases, treatment is not simple because the parasites can increase swelling and inflammation in the brain as they die. Therefore, doctors have to manage it very carefully. Some patients are given anti-parasitic drugs. Some require steroids or anti-inflammatory medicines. And in many cases, seizure medicines continue for a long time. The CDC says that treatment can be different in every case. The decision is taken based on the location of the cyst, swelling, symptoms, and the condition of the patient. For Lowri, this was not just a medical treatment. This was a life-changing phase in which seizures, mental stress, and daily life restrictions kept getting added. According to reports, she had to take medicines for a long time to control epilepsy. Such patients might also have to face an impact on driving, work, and independence. When a brain disease is invisible, the world does not understand it quickly. The person looks fine from the outside, but inside, fear, fatigue, and uncertainty keep going on. A seizure is considered the most common symptom of neurocysticercosis. Sometimes there is a headache, sometimes a vision problem, and sometimes trouble comes in memory or concentration. The WHO considers it a major cause of preventable epilepsy in the developing world. In many endemic regions, it has been found to be seriously linked to epilepsy cases. In countries like the UK, this disease is very rare. Cases appear less there because of better sanitation, food safety standards, and meat inspection systems. In a UK study, only 26 cases of active neurocysticercosis were reviewed at London's Hospital for Tropical Diseases between 2001 and 2015. From this, one can understand why such a case became unusual in Britain. But at the global level, this disease is not that rare, especially in some regions of Asia, Latin America, and Sub-Saharan Africa. In India, a separate complete counting of this disease at the national level is not easy. But different studies have stated it to be an important cause linked to seizures and epilepsy. In the Indian Journal of Medical Research, neurocysticercosis has been stated to be a common single cause of seizures in India and many endemic countries. This does not mean that every headache or every seizure is neurocysticercosis. But in unexplained seizures, doctors take travel history, food exposure, and imaging seriously. Now the question is, how does this infection spread? Its answer is hidden not just in the kitchen, but in the sanitation chain. If a tapeworm carrier did not wash their hands properly after the toilet, and they handled food, then microscopic eggs can reach the food. If the sewage system is bad, water is contaminated, or vegetables are washed with contaminated water, the risk can increase further. While swimming in natural water bodies, if contaminated water is accidentally swallowed, there can be a theoretical risk. But in treated and chlorinated swimming pools, the risk is considered very low. During travel, the risk increases because a person comes in contact with unfamiliar food, local water, street hygiene, and different sanitation standards. But this risk is not the identity of any single country. Wherever sanitation is weak, there is open defecation, untreated water, or food hygiene is poor, there can be danger. The most basic shield to prevent it is washing hands. Proper hand washing with soap after the toilet, before making food, and before eating is very important. The second shield is safe water. While traveling, choosing bottle-sealed water, boiled water, or properly filtered water is considered safer. The third shield is fruits and vegetables. These should be properly washed and peeled, especially in places where there is doubt about water quality. The fourth shield is meat safety. If someone eats pork, it should be thoroughly cooked. But then remember, the main root of brain cysticercosis is swallowing tapeworm eggs. There is another dangerous thing in this disease. A person can be an adult tapeworm carrier and not even know it, because an intestinal tapeworm many times gives mild symptoms. If the carrier does not follow hygiene, they can unknowingly create a chain of spreading eggs in their home, kitchen, or community. This is why the WHO considers the hygiene of food handlers critical. The role of hand hygiene is big everywhere, in restaurants, street food stalls, and the home kitchen. The most painful thing in Lowri's story is that the warning signs came slowly. First the tapeworm, then the scan, then the diagnosis, then years of treatment. A traveler thinks that the trip is over. The passport has been put back in the drawer. But sometimes, an invisible memory of that trip remains inside the body. This memory never speaks immediately. It comes years later as a headache, it comes as a seizure, or it suddenly stands in front of you in an MRI report. Therefore, unexplained neurological symptoms should not be taken lightly. If there is a severe headache, seizure, vision issue, or confusion, one should get checked by a doctor. Self-medication can be dangerous in such cases. Issues like parasites, inflammation, and brain pressure demand specialist care. Lowri Denman is sharing her story today for awareness. More than scaring people, her case gives a message that prevention is no small thing. A clean hand, a safe glass of water, a properly washed fruit, and a hygienic kitchen can sometimes save a person from a lifetime of illness. But we will have to look beyond sensational headlines too. Calling it a brain-eating worm is dramatic, but medically, a more correct thing is parasitic cysts in the brain. These cysts are not literally eating the brain, but their presence, inflammation, and immune response can disturb brain function in a serious way. It is important to understand this exact difference, because fear can build awareness, but the wrong fear can spread misinformation too. Neurocysticercosis is preventable, but it is also neglected. A lack of sanitation, diagnosis and treatment access in many poor communities of the world makes it a major public health issue. Where a CT scan or MRI is not available, people mistake seizures for superstition, weakness or a mental problem. The correct diagnosis happens late. When the diagnosis happens late, the patient does not just suffer from the disease. They also suffer social stigma, job loss, family stress and financial burden. Lowri's story is important because she was a patient from a developed country, yet it took time for doctors to understand the journey. If diagnosis can be complicated in a system like the UK, imagine how many challenges there must be in rural and low-resource areas. The lesson here is not just for travelers. This lesson is also for families, food handlers, schools, restaurants, and public health systems. To break an infection chain, just medicine is not enough. Sanitation, clean water, safe cooking, hand washing and awareness are all required together. Today when people read viral headlines, panic spreads many times. But this story should be understood not as panic, but as a practical warning. If you travel, do food adventures, but do not ignore hygiene. Let the water be sealed, the food be fresh, and the hands be clean. If you cook food at home, do not take kitchen hygiene lightly by considering it a routine. Invisible eggs cannot be seen with the eyes, but they can cause very big damage. If there is any unusual symptom, especially a seizure, severe headache, or a strange neurological sign, do not delay it. The body many times indicates a big danger by giving a small warning. An invisible parasite changed Lowri Denman's life. But more than a tragedy of a single human being, her story is a health reminder for the entire world. Because illness sometimes does not come like a big accident. It begins with a tiny bit of carelessness, a contaminated bite, or a glass of unsafe water. And then years later, in a scan room, a doctor can look at you and speak that sentence which no human being ever wants to hear. There are parasites in your brain. The question is, will we wait for that day, or will we start taking clean water, clean hands and safe food seriously from today?
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.